Hey guys, welcome back to JDMods. Today we are working on the Aristo. It's been a long time since the Aristo's been on the channel, and it's actually been a long time since I've driven it as well. Basically, I drove it last year, 2021, and it had a throwout bearing issue, so I quickly ripped out the engine, replaced the throwout bearing, and threw the engine back in. But unfortunately, I tore the output shaft bearing on the seal on the transmission. So I have it in our home shop now, which is really nice to work in. I dropped the exhaust, the drive shaft, replaced that seal. I replaced the fluid, put the drive shaft back in, and now I'm going to be fixing up the exhaust behind me here. I'll show you what's wrong with it and the plan for the exhaust. Super quickly, here's the Aristo if you haven't seen it. It is a 93 GS300, but I call it an Aristo because it has Aristo bumpers, side skirts, 3-piece spoiler, and taillights. And of course the 2JZGTE non-VVTi with a single turbo. This car doesn't make it on the channel much, so why don't I give you guys a quick tour before we get to the boring old exhaust stuff. Here's the engine in it, 6266 precision turbo. Internally stock 2J with a ARP head studs pretty much, and then just a nice little tucked bay. Pretty straightforward. It has the CD009 6-speed transmission. And stock interior pretty much aside from a racing seat, the shifter, and some gauges. I love this car. First kind of modified car I got, and I've learned a lot on this car. So here's the exhaust that has been on it since I bought this thing probably 7 years ago. Basically just a 3-inch V-band, 3-inch exhaust, going to a busted up flex pipe, I believe a knocked out cat, some sort of muffler, and then we have 2 dual MagnaFlow mufflers with some 4.5-inch tips. So the plan for today's video is to delete this guy. I'll put in a little video clip either now or later of this car at the dyno, and you'll be able to see it was really quiet in my opinion. We're going to be replacing the knocked out cat with a high flow cat because the cops are really cracking down on people. It doesn't choke out much horsepower with a high flow cat, and it's better for the environment, which is a bonus. And I'm going to be replacing the flex pipe as well. Bought a J pipe from Lyle Stainless, great website, I would highly recommend. And also a stainless steel 3-inch cutoff from a local flea market. That was $15, believe it or not. Then over here we have the new flex pipe as well from Lyle Stainless. I think I got this on Amazon, just a 3-inch V-band I'm going to add in there so I can take the exhaust off in less pieces. Then this is actually a 2.5-inch high flow cat. I bought this because it's a lot easier to fit than a 3-inch cat on some of my cars. And all I have to do is chop it just up this rad to make it into a 3-inch. Yes, I wish I bought a 3-inch for this build, but the core is the same size, so it's not like it's more restrictive or anything. So that's what we're going to be using. Let's go ahead and start cutting up our exhaust. Here's one little trick I'll share before I start cutting. I want to make sure my exhaust fits the same. Now I'm going to be tacking up and checking, but I spray painted. My floor is not super great, so I spray painted with weld-through primer. Somewhere on the front and somewhere on the back. So as long as I keep those sections the same, in theory it will fit back on the car. Let's get cutting. The old exhaust pieces I don't want have been cut out, as you can see there. And now I'm kind of just laying out my new pieces. I've got my flex pipe in the same location, the high flow where the old cat is, and then I have to just make up a piece of pipe, which I think is doable. I wish I had more straight sections, but I'll make it work, just a bit more welding than there should be required here. I might get it all laid out, then I'll show you guys how it looks. I've started to make some cuts. You can see I've got the flex pipe ready. I cut a little piece of 3-inch. I cut my 2.5-inch cat to fit a 3-inch pipe. But I'm going to have to start throwing on some tack welds. Just very small ones, just to make sure I don't lose any positioning. I stopped the filming because it was getting kind of boring, but the exhaust is all tacked up now. I might flip it over and do a few tacks on the other side, but you can see it's looking a little bit more like a race car exhaust now, without that big muffler section in the middle. And it's really shiny compared to the rest of the exhaust, but the rest of the exhaust isn't rusty by any means. It is stainless. So I'm going to probably throw a few more tacks on, then we'll test fit it on the car. Here it is, the Aristo exhaust fully welded up. Not my prettiest welds, but they are nice and strong. It's having a bit of problem with fitment issues, so they're pretty inconsistent. But they get the job done, and it's prettier than what was already on there, so I'll take that as a win. So now I have a nice removable with the V-band rear section. So say I take out the engine, I only have to drop, we'll call it the mid pipe here. I got a new flex pipe, a high flow cat, and of course deleted my third muffler. So I'm going to go ahead now and toss it on the car, and then we'll hear how it sounds. Exhaust is on. I think it fit pretty well. Thank God for the flex pipe, or else it would not have fit, let's just say that. The tips lined up pretty much where they should, and then you can see it underneath there. There's clearance everywhere there needs to be clearance. I've tightened the V-bands down pretty tight. Sometimes they leak a little bit until I go back and tighten them up after they've vibrated for a little while. But yeah, there she is underneath the car. Doesn't hit anything. Lots of room for the drive shaft. I'm going to go ahead and put the front wheels on the ground, and we'll fire it up. Time for the first start. It's also the first start in a few months, so if it doesn't start up perfectly, that's why. Let's see how the new exhaust sounds. Now that it's warmed up, I'll do a little rev clip, but we are in the garage, so nothing too crazy. Hope you guys enjoyed this little video on the Aristo's exhaust. I'm hoping to make a driving video on this car soon, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.